Welcome to Deploy Securely, where we talk about measuring and managing the risk of using AI. I'm your host, Walter Haydock, the founder and CEO of StackAware. So today we're going to be talking about the risks of using Llama. It's a freely available large language model from Meta that allows developers to accelerate writing code by providing suggestions and other helpful advice during the process. Self-hosting AI models like Llama seems to have quickly become the de facto choice for those concerned about data security. But if you read Deploy Securely or listen to the podcast regularly, you'll know that this isn't necessarily the right answer. And on that note, someone recently asked me about the unintended training and data retention risks of using Llama. So that was the prompt for this episode. This person was comparing the model against GitHub Copilot and was concerned about if and how Meta might have access to the data that he provided to it. And my bottom line response is that these two specific risks of unintended training and unintended data retention are the same for any model that you host and operate on your own. And all other things being equal, these two risks are going to be lower than anything that runs as a service like Copilot from GitHub or ChatGPT's code interpreter. Because Llama is not offered as a service and Meta does not host it in production, the only really conceivable way in which the company could get access to your data would be some sort of callback mechanism. And if there were any mechanism like this, that would certainly be odd, although it's definitely not the first time that something like this would be found in open source software. And a surface level scrub using ChatGPT, if you look at the blog post, you can see the results, shows that it doesn't look like there are any callbacks to Meta or any other organization from Llama. So seems like it's clean, but again, you need to do a detailed code analysis to make sure of that. I would say on a broader level, it seems pretty unlikely that Meta would implement some sort of phone home capability due to the outcry that would result. There's a lot of intense privacy-related scrutiny on Meta right now, so trying to slip something like that in seems like it would be counterproductive and could blow up in their face. But if you're extremely paranoid, you could physically or logically air gap the model, or you could do things like monitoring and blocking outgoing requests during runtime, if you so choose. Your unintended training risk here, though, is not zero. Consider what would happen if you fine-tuned Llama on some super secret code that only a select few members of your team are supposed to see. If employees from other parts of your organization or the public at large, for some reason, end up having access to this fine-tuned model, then you would have some exposure risk for your intellectual property. That's why having a neutral security policy for your AI applications is so important. On the data retention side, your internal architecture will be critical here. If you hoover up every prompt and response and store it in an infrastructure as a service database without any built-in data destruction or retention processes, then your risk can be higher than if you're using OpenAI, which defaults to 30-day retention for their API, or Anthropic Enterprise, which defaults to 28-day retention for their APIs. So in summary, the unintended training risk here is not zero, but it's also not that high and lower than that compared to as a service models. But I wouldn't over-index on this risk specifically because there are many other things to worry about. For example, known traditional vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, which are especially common in infrastructure as a service environments, and then also human error from setting up and managing these models on your own. So if you're ready to start managing the risk from AI related to cybersecurity, compliance, and privacy, then definitely reach out to StackAware today for an assessment. And if you're interested in getting more tips on how to manage your risk, then hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for future episodes. Thanks a lot.